Ready, Danae, and roll purple. Danae, third quarter. I am the ESPN Plus producer for all of our athletic events. I basically control the storyline of all of our broadcasts, our streams, who our players to watch, just kind of anything you would want to know about the game. My job is to work and research all of that, do my best job to make sure fans are interested in what we're doing and why the game's important to watch. Conduct that. Under a minute out. Under a minute, y'all. Our typical broadcast team can range from 10 to 20 people, just depending what's going on. We have director, TD, producer, associate producer, associate director, graphics operators, usually 2 of those, typically 2 replay operators, 5 camera operators, an engineer.
How close this is. Charlotte having a tough one against FAU earlier this week. Every game matters.
Directing is basically calling the camera shots, switching between inputs, and making everything look as clean as you can. To support the producer in what he wants to do with his storylines.
A turnover there for Johnson and McNeil.
Quality control is something that I pride myself in. I want them to feel like they are in the stadium. They're here with us.
Heck yeah, great job, Riley.
There's Elizabeth Yaskowitz.
Kyle Gaskins. I'm the Assistant Director of Video Operations at East Carolina University. I manage the students. Scheduling wise, I run replay for a lot of the broadcasts. I like to think of myself as more of a Swiss Army knife, where if we need somebody to run graphics, I can run graphics. If we need somebody to direct the show, I can direct the show, produce, run replay in the stadium for officials. I run launch pads.
Chance to win it. Sawyer to the plate, and this game's over.
Purple goal. Purple goal.
East Carolina with the game winner here in the 5th.
My name is Jack Meltzner. I'm a camera op and production assistant here at ECU. I do replay operating. What I'm doing is I'm finding every highlight and I'm going to clip them from the beginning of the highlight to the end of the highlight, and then throughout the show there's different segments we'll have. So I'll build a little highlight package, like for number 10's 3-point shots or something. At the end I'll put all that together and make what's called a melt that we send off to the rest of the ESPN people so that they can have clips of our game for the next game for highlights. I do the bug, so it's like the scoreboard. I just help with the score, and I'll pop off a bio about each player. It comes off at the bottom of the screen. It just helps the broadcast look a little more seamless. And then more at the games, I'm on camera. I video the talent, which is the announcers before the game and during halftime. For most sports, I'm filming and seeing the game through my eyes, and then I'm bringing that to viewers back home, and they get to see it from the level of the field, and it makes the broadcast look a lot better.
So before the broadcast starts, we'll set up the cameras, run the fiber cords, run various SDI cords to various locations. For basketball, we'll have a fiber cord going from each corner of the gym to our basket locations, SDI from our Marshall cameras on the baskets to our half cube, which is kind of our hub where we can kind of send everything back to the room from whichever venue we are at. Once all the technical setup's done, we will do front ends for the broadcast for replays. Just so if we use any player packages, we'll have a highlight of name of the person with the school animation, sometimes action shots. After that, we'll check and make sure all of our graphics work, all of our data is linked to the scores table, to the score booth. We'll check headsets, comms, and when all of that is ready, we will go over graphics, we'll go over replay packages with our talent who's on site, and then we'll start rehearsing for the show.
I have to go through each input to make sure that everything is clean. I run all my white just to make sure they're linked properly, because a lot of times if they're not linked properly in the graphics computer, they may come up logo when I do a white, And basically a white is a transition that transitions to the next shot. Dirt white.
For broadcasts, typically what I'll do is set up calls between our talent, our play-by-play and color analysts with head coaches. Those are usually 30 minutes. They kind of have a conversation about what do they think of their teams, what is important to know about their teams. I'll maybe ask specific questions about players. After that, I will typically read any kind of game notes or news releases from the team's SIDs. Just find as much information as possible about the team and have an idea of stories to talk about, important players, anything that is notable about the upcoming matchups. From there, I begin prepping our graphics machine, fill out spreadsheets, whether it's the rosters, positions, heights, weights, hometowns, and then just tons of stats all over the place. Make sure our graphics are ready to go.
We like to go above and beyond and make sure that we're prepared for everything you could think of. Things always go wrong on a live production. It's just whether the viewer realizes it or not. There's always a bad cut or a bad animation, or we put the graphic on too soon. But mainly what stresses me is just technology. We never know if we're going to just lose data for a game.
We can always go to our backup bug. If the backup bug is bad, then hey, we just won't have graphics. If our replay machine dies, well, we won't have replays. If a camera dies, I'll just switch around it.
First strikeout, first out of the game. Beautiful pitch from Bullis, staying up just like she does. Great pitch.
It's so fast that you have to keep track of everything that I wouldn't be keeping track of when I'm doing camera, like stats and who's playing well and whatnot. And so that kind of compounds on itself and makes it pretty stressful in there.
I feel like I probably put a little stress on myself just because I can be a bit of a perfectionist. I want a show to look clean. I want to do my job at the highest level possible.
I mean, it's a competition for us. We want to do better than all the other schools. I want a fan of a team in our conference to want to watch our team play, not just because of the team, but because they know that if they turn on that broadcast, it's going to be good.
Spins up, scores with 2.5 remaining. Pettiford, the heave for 3. Oh! He made it! The Pirates win! Oh my goodness gracious!
My favorite part of the job is like right before tip, right before first pitch. Like I played sports my whole life and I loved that competitive aspect and like building up to an event, the suspense. So I honestly love just being there at the games on the court right before it starts. Everyone's excited and the whistle blows and it's a great time.
Once you're live on air, once it happens. So there's a little bit of a rush of adrenaline, I guess. It's kind of a weird mix between like calm and adrenaline. That's really unique, and I don't think I could find that most other places.
Gotta love it all. I love video. I love production. I love it all.
The sports broadcast industry just means bringing the best quality broadcasts and sports to people. I grew up watching sports my whole life, and those people when I was growing up that were doing it behind the scenes for me put together good products that made me fall in love with sports, and that's what we do for other people. We're putting it together in a great way that is easily digestible and that causes fans to fall in love with the sport.